Hello everyone, I'm Jordana Van of Raven Light Holistic Healing, and one of the things I do as part of my healing and spiritual counseling practice is help clients understand why they might be having difficulty finding a romantic partner or finding the kind of relationship they actually want with someone they want to stay with or who stays with them, and what they can do to change that. And so in honor of Valentine's Day, I thought I'd give you guys kind of an overview of what this process looks like so that you can begin healing your own love life and opening yourself to the arrival of that perfect partner, if that's what you're wanting at this time. Now, the info in this video can also be adapted to help you bring in whatever else that you want. But it seemed like a good thing to do on Valentine's Day, and love is something that most of us can relate to. So there are 2 points that you need to keep in mind in order for this video to be of use to you. 1, the universe gives us what we really believe. And 2, the universe gives us what we really want. And to help you see how this works, I'd like to lead with some examples that relate to finding the perfect relationship. So the first one, perhaps you have a job that you love, or it's a job that pays really well. Maybe you don't love it, but you're attached to keeping it, and it has really, really erratic hours. You want a romantic partner, but you don't think that anyone could possibly tolerate your crazy work hours and still want to be in a relationship with you. You're convinced that anyone that you date is either going to leave because they never see you enough, or they're going to guilt trip you for being gone so much, or that you're going to love them so much that you're going to be forced to give up your job to stay with them. So while you do want a romantic partner, you're convinced that having one is either going to lead to heartbreak or to the loss of this job that is valuable to you. So what you really want here is to stay single. Yes, loneliness sucks, but it is less painful than what you are afraid is going to happen to you if you really do find someone that you care about. So another example, let's say that you have aging parents who need your care. This is what I run into a lot in clients. You're desperate for a romantic relationship, but you're afraid that if you fall in love, it is going to be so amazing that you're going to want to stop taking care of your parents. You'll just want to run away with your new love and your parents will die alone and miserable. Or you might be afraid that a romantic partner wouldn't understand how much you love your parents and how much they need you. You're already convinced that this romantic partner would be upset by the amount of time that you spend with your folks, and they would dump you if you choose to give all your time to your folks instead of them. So because you are convinced that a romantic partner would only yield heartbreak or guilt or the death of your parents, what you really want, again, is to stay single. Yes, it's unpleasant, but it feels better and safer to you than what you're afraid is going to happen to you or to your folks if you fall in love. So the last example, and there are so many, I had to really kind of pick and choose based on most popular things I encounter. So this is by no means an exhaustive list. So perhaps you were abandoned in your last relationship. The person left you or divorced you, or maybe they even passed away unexpectedly. Or perhaps you were abandoned by your parents, or it felt like you were abandoned because they were never there for you when you needed them. So you have this history of having the people who are supposed to love you and be there for you leave you. So you want to be in a relationship, but you're afraid that if you are, that you're only going to wind up being abandoned again. You fear the person will leave or will die, and you just don't think you could handle that kind of grief and heartbreak again. So while you do want a relationship, what you really want here is to be alone. Because while being alone feels super crummy, you know what it feels like. It's the devil you know. It feels better than that awful heart pain you fear you wouldn't be able to endure. So in all these cases, though you want a relationship, you're afraid that if you get it, something bad will happen. Either you will lose something that's important to you, or you think you will act irresponsibly, or you will feel guilty, or somebody will abandon you and you'll feel intolerable grief. So actually, you aren't in touch with what you really want. You are only aware of what you believe about what you want. Now let's look at each of those examples again and see what they would look like if we actually removed the limiting beliefs. And the fastest way to identify and remove those beliefs, and you're going to be doing this for yourself, is to ask, What do I want, but think that I can't or shouldn't have? So let's go back to the first case. You've got a job with erratic hours, and you're afraid a partner's either going to be upset about those hours and leave, or that you'll be forced to give up the job in order to stay with the partner. But what if you could have exactly what you want, even though you think you can't or shouldn't have it? Well, then, what you would really want would be a relationship with someone who would totally respect your crazy schedule and love you so much that they would be satisfied with however much time they could have with you, even if it's not a lot. And perhaps they would have super busy lives of their own, so their whole world wouldn't spin around you and whatever time you could give them. They would want from you exactly what you want from them. Your schedule wouldn't be an issue at all in the relationship. So you could have this super amazing, perfect romantic relationship, and your job wouldn't be affected at all. This is what you really want deep down, but believe that you can't or shouldn't have. In the second example, you have ailing parents that you care for, and you're afraid that if you fall in love, you'll either run off with this new love and abandon your folks because caring for them really is a lot of work and it is wearing you out, or that your new partner won't understand how much you need to be there for your parents and will abandon you. So what do you really want but think you can't or shouldn't have? Well, you either want someone who loves your folks as much as you do to step in and take their turn at providing care, or you want to have the money needed to place your folks in a loving home where all their needs are met, or to have care come to them in their own home, or you want a partner who loves you dearly, who perhaps has ailing parents of their own, and totally understands that you feel the need to be there for your folks. In fact, they will lovingly help you take care of your folks, maybe even provide financially, and be happy about it because you mean so much to them. So what you're really doing here is creating the understanding that it is possible for you to have your cake and eat it too, to use the old phrase. So let's look at the last example, where you're afraid of being abandoned again, either because someone willfully leaves you or because they pass away. So what you want is to find love again, but you're terrified it won't last and that your heart won't be able to take the pain and grief. What do you really want but think you can't have? You want a relationship in which your partner will always, always be there for you, from the time you meet until the rest of your life. Or you want to be able to know that if they do pass, that you'll be able to take care of yourself, that you'd be able to find love yet again, that you would be financially supported, and that you could move through the grief. It may even be the case that what would make you feel best here, especially if you're older and you've been through this a few times, would simply be knowing that if they do have to go, that you would be ready to release them. You could recognize that it was time and that it was for the best. It wouldn't be like you were feeling victimized by the universe. Whatever it is that would make you feel best, whatever you really want, but think you cannot or should not have, is exactly what you need to look at here. No, there's no way to guarantee that you'll never feel grief or heartbreak again. That may simply be scheduled for you in this lifetime, as hard as that is. But what if your next relationship really is meant to last until you die, and you keep pushing it away because you're afraid? If we don't acknowledge the fears that are keeping us stuck, those fears are what's going to run our life instead of our real desires. So as you're looking at your relationship wants, what you get to do here is make a list of things that you want, some of the easy stuff, but also when you really think about it, the things that you want, but you recognize that you think that you can't or should not have, either because they're actually impossible, because you think they're wrong or irresponsible, or any other can't or shouldn't that filters in there. What's important here is to be honest with yourself and to write down what you really truly want, no matter how scared or hopeless or sometimes even ashamed that makes you. Then really dig deep and try to imagine all the things that would have to happen to make having what you want 100% okay. So if you're afraid your parents won't approve of your new partner, maybe you're gay and your parents have never understood this and you think they're going to reject a same-sex romance. Write down that you want your parents to be over the moon about your new love, even if this seems crazy or irresponsible or impossible or any of these things. If what you really want is to have a partner who makes a ton of money so that you never have to work again, write that down, along with whatever's needed to make this okay for you. For example, your partner might contribute to the relationship by working, and you would contribute by keeping a nice house and providing emotional support. And this is exactly what your partner would want from you. Or maybe you want someone who's going to give up their career and travel all over the world on a sailboat with you. So to make this feel okay, you add that you also have an unlimited supply of cash, and that cash comes from a source that makes you feel good. Nothing is off limits, guys. Nothing. Don't try to modify your desires or talk yourself out of them, even the sexual ones. In fact, especially the sexual ones, because we block ourselves there like crazy. Write down what you really, truly want, but think you can't or shouldn't have. And focus on how circumstances would have to be to make you feel safe having what you want. Now, as you're making this list of exactly what you want, there's an important thing to keep in mind. Sometimes the universe really does give us exactly what we want, right down to the teeniest, tiniest, mind-blowingly awesomest details. I have been through this several times, and it shocks me every time, even though this is what I do for a living. But when you're making this list, what you're doing isn't actually telling the universe what you want. You're telling the universe how you want to feel. You picked all those things you wanted right now because you think that if you received them, they would make you happy, or they'd make you feel safe. But there are many, many things out there that would actually make you feel even better. You just don't know to ask for them because you don't know they exist, or maybe you've simply never had experience with them before. So as you're making your list of what you want but think that you can't or shouldn't have in a relationship, you're tapping into the feeling you would have if you got something that satisfied your romantic needs on every possible level. And it doesn't matter whether what you want is actually going to satisfy you or not, because the universe doesn't care about that stuff. What it cares about is whether or not you are open to feeling a certain way. Can you believe that it is possible for you to feel over the moon, 100% happy and safe, as though everything you ever dreamed came to pass? So this is not about doing affirmations or visualizations or, God forbid, trying to force yourself to change your thoughts or any of that. Rather, this is about defining what you really want and allowing yourself what it would be like if you got it. You want to feel what it would be like if that thing just showed up. So now a lot of us really struggle with this because we don't know what it would feel like to be loved or safe, especially if we've only ever been in emotionally abusive or physically abusive relationships where those things are so far from what we experience. So trying to make the jump from that list to feeling overly joyful and blissful and happy like we have everything on our list is really, really hard. So here's what I often suggest clients try instead. I want you to imagine that there is a love lottery for which you can buy a ticket. And you buy a ticket for the exact, down to the tiniest detail, kind of partner and relationship that you want. And I mean exactly the one in a bazillion shot that every single thing would be absolutely perfect, that any naysayers would suddenly turn around and support you instead, and whatever else would need to happen to make this love 100% amazing and safe and feel great happens. Really like winning a lottery. So I want you to feel the hopefulness of buying that ticket and the week of waiting and agonizing for the numbers to be drawn. And then, my darling, then you check your numbers on Saturday morning and you won. Oh my God, you actually won. That exact, perfect, so unlikely, it may as well be impossible, person and relationship is yours. It really is. And all you did was buy a ticket and somehow a friggin' miracle happened. Do you feel the relief and the excitement and the joy? That's the feeling we're talking about here. That is how you tell the universe that you believe that what you want is possible for you. And you open yourself up to receiving it, or something that will make you feel that good, rather than blocking it because you believe that you either can't have what you want, or that if you get what you want, it will actually make you unhappy. So what next? Well, you might just have a tiny nervous breakdown. Welcome to healing, guys. This kind of exercise puts you on cloud 9, and when you're first doing it, you may stay there for all of 5 seconds and then plummet into the pit of despair. This is because your heart got engaged, and it started to believe that you could really have everything that you wanted, which you are meant to have. That feeling of having what you want, you're meant to have that. That's why your heart got so excited. But then your ego, which tries to protect you by keeping you stuck right where you are, freaks out and tries to convince you that no, this is not possible and you shouldn't hope for it because it's not going to happen. And then you're going to be so crushed and it will be unbearable. Ego doesn't want you to hope, because if you hope, you could be disappointed. If you're disappointed, that will be miserable. So you might as well just stay in your little bitty depressed and lonely box, because at least you know what that feels like. So when you are in the pit of despair and anxiety, and you know what, we're all human. This is where we wind up sometimes. The best thing you can do is get comfortable with it. Just sit there, guys. It happens to the best of us, even me. Let those feelings talk to you. Get to know them. Ask yourself exactly why you feel so depressed and why you feel so scared. Chances are it's that you feel powerless. When you actually feel your feelings without trying to rationalize them or change them or make them stop, you come to really powerful understandings about what you believe about your reality. And simply by feeling those emotions, they will eventually dissolve. When this happens, you're going to feel calm again, inexplicably. Even if things aren't even remotely okay yet, you're going to look around and go, wow, things still suck, but I feel okay. When you're in that space, that calm, I guess I'm okay space, then you want to re-engage that, oh my God, I just won the love lottery and everything I really truly want but thought that I couldn't or shouldn't have is really mine feeling. We can't control the timing of our lives. This is annoying, but it's true. The universe knows the order in which things need to happen for each of us to reach our fullest potential and become our happiest, truest selves. And many times this is an order that doesn't make any sense to us or frustrates the hell out of us. So sometimes we're prevented from finding love when we think we need it because there is a reason we need to be alone right then. And this is unfortunately usually something we can only truly connect with in hindsight. But though we cannot control the timing of what happens, we can make sure that we have gotten out of our own way and that we are really, truly open to experiences that make us feel the way we want to feel. So when you do the feeling exercise we just discussed, that's what you're doing, making sure that you've released any limiting beliefs that would prevent that happiness from coming to you. And I would just keep doing this exercise on and off, refining your list as needed until the relationship that you want, or something that makes you feel even better than what you thought you wanted was going to give you, shows up. Go into this feeling place only when it feels easy and fun and joyful. And do not try to force yourself to feel joy and relief when you're depressed or anxious, because all that's going to do is make you feel more hopeless and afraid. When you're depressed and anxious, feel it. It's okay. And guys, I had legitimate, hand to God, I was so traumatized, I was literally delusional, PTSD, and I healed myself completely by feeling the terror head on, no filter. So I promise you, feeling those icky feelings, really feeling them, is not going to make you worse, as so many of you fear. What's making you worse is pushing them away. When you calm back down, after you felt for a while, and you will, that's when you go back into your happy, what would it feel like if I got exactly what I wanted place. Also, you do not have to do this all the time. Some of you are going to try to force yourselves to do this every waking moment. Don't, please. You don't need to. When the idea of it feels good, meaning you want to do it, do it. When it does not, and you feel like you have to push or force yourself, don't. Either just kind of let it go or just do some feeling instead. The universe is not judging your effort. It's not sitting there going, well, Judy's been doing this for 6 hours. I guess we're going to deliver. No, it is only looking for your openness. And that can happen in moments, hours, whatever. How long you do this does not matter. The last bit of advice here. Once you've gotten yourself to the point where you can feel the relief and relaxation and elation of having the partner and relationship that you want and having it be okay for you to have that, let go of all of your preconceived notions about what you think is going to lead to you meeting someone and just live your life. Follow the urges that feel energizing and joyful, even if they seem nuts, even if they seem counterintuitive, even if they seem completely unlikely to get you that relationship. Your role is only to release limiting beliefs, not to control the circumstances or consciously select certain actions. The actions you're supposed to take are just going to feel good. So in my experience, the universe never, almost never, brings us what we want in the way we would expect. So logic's just not going to help you here. Don't bother with it. Instead, you're suddenly going to feel the urge to get pizza, even though you're on a diet, and you'll meet the love of your life standing outside the pizza parlor. Or your car is going to break down on the freeway, and your new partner will be the person who stops to help you. Or you'll be seated next to each other in a movie theater. Or they'll be your new veterinarian. Or maybe they'll be that son of a bitch who replies to your political Facebook post with an opposing view, and it ticks you off, and while you're hashing it out over social media, you suddenly realize that you have an awful lot in common and actually enjoy debating with each other. 2, if you are attached to the relationship you want coming to you in a particular way, you're going to reject everything that doesn't line up with what you think you want. Remember, this is about feeling, not about a hard and fast physical creation that matches what was on your list. So when someone comes into your life that makes you feel the way you thought you would feel when you did that exercise, and you find yourself wanting to be with them even if they are nothing like you thought they would be, that's the universe telling you to go for it. It can be tough to just live and trust that things are moving. And when you're in that place, I would recommend just keep returning to your list and ask yourself, can you really let yourself have everything in exactly the way that you want it? Or has some new fear or limiting belief cropped up that you need to work with before the situation resolves? When we start trying to dig into ourselves and figure out what makes us tick, we're going to be digging for a long time. You're probably going to find you need to do this several times to really get to what you want. And really, this is all you can do. If there was an action-based formula for finding love every time, you wouldn't be watching this video. You would have tried it. It would have worked. So really give this a try, guys. Even though I believe in this stuff wholeheartedly because I've watched it work in my life every single day, even I have my mind blown by how I can take every action possible and be no closer to getting what I wanted. And yet, when I just allow myself to define what I really, truly want and get into that feeling space where I recognize that it would be possible to have what I want in a way that feels wonderful, it just shows up without any effort at all, sometimes literally overnight. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys and that it's inspired you to try something new. And more, that it really does lead you to connecting with the perfect partnership for you, the perfect relationship. If you find you need further assistance doing this, most especially if you need help moving through past pain and being okay with letting yourself have exactly what you want, please feel free to visit my website, which is www.ravenlightholistichealing.com, to schedule a professional session with me. I work with clients all over the world every day. I would love to work with you as well. I'm also here for you if you need assistance healing a physical issue, no matter how complicated or serious or mysterious it is. If you have no clue what to do with yourself in this lifetime or how to connect with what you do know you want to do, if you're having dreams you need interpreted, if you're having strange or striking experiences with animals and want to understand what this means, my webpage details the full range of services that I offer, how to book a session with me, what I charge, all that good stuff. There's also a really, really great FAQ page. Anything you don't see on the website, check that page. It's probably there. You can also follow my work on Facebook and Instagram. Please look for my business page, Ravenlight Holistic Healing, because I do not respond to friend requests that go to Jordana Van. Also, while I can understand that a lot of you might want my professional opinion or guidance on your relationship or spiritual situation, I do not provide this outside of a formal session in any circumstances. So if you're interested in receiving my assistance with your situation, please book a session with me. I would be delighted to work with you in that context. Have a beautiful day, my darlings. Happy Valentine's Day. Cheers.